All right, let's dive in. We're taking a trip to Nollywood today, exploring Sugar Rush, this 2019 action comedy.
Yeah.
And, we've got a film review to kind of guide us, but really it's about more than just, like rehashing the review. We want to go deeper, right?
Yeah.
Like what made this movie such a hit with audiences? What sets it apart? And what does it tell us about, like, Nollywood itself? The industry.
Well, and I think one of the really interesting things about Sugar Rush is that, it is like this fun popcorn flick.
Yeah.
But it also kind of offers like this commentary on Nigerian society.
Right.
Wrapped up in this, high energy, colorful package.
Oh, for sure. So let's set the scene for people who maybe haven't seen the film. So the movie centers on these three floaters, Bola, Sola, and Susie.
Right.
Who stumble upon, get this, $800,000 cash.
Wow.
In the house of a corrupt politician. You can talk about being in the right place at the wrong time.
Exactly. It's like that classic what would you do scenario, but with a Nollywood twist.
Right.
Because they decide, okay, we're not going to play it safe.
Yeah.
Let's embrace the chaos.
Yeah.
And of course, things spiral from there.
And by spiral, we mean they end up in this wild cat and mouse chase, right?
Yeah.
Involving not just the crooked politician, but like mafias.
Oh, yeah.
The government, and even this like mysterious criminal mastermind known as Anikulapo.
Right. Aika White Lion.
Aika White Lion, that's right. And what's so cool is that even with all that intense action, the movie never loses its sense of humor.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think Sugar Rush does so well.
Yeah.
The humor's really smart, right? It's not just slapstick. It's like woven into the action. It's in the dialogue. Even the characters' reactions to the crazy situations they're in. It's a tricky balance.
Yeah.
But the filmmakers pull it off.
Oh, they do. And speaking of those characters, the review really praises the chemistry between the three lead actresses.
Yeah.
Adesua Etomi, Bisola Aiyeola, and Bimbo Ademoye. They bring this warmth and this impeccable comedic timing that really lightens up what could have been like a very dark story.
Oh, absolutely. They totally elevate the film.
Yeah.
You really believe that they're sisters.
Yeah.
Going through this insane experience together. And it's not just them either. Like the supporting cast is also really great.
Yeah.
Especially Banky W.
Right.
Who plays Anikulapo. He's so chilling, but also charismatic.
Right.
He adds this whole other level of suspense. Like you never know what he's going to do next.
Oh, totally unpredictable. Okay, but let's talk about the visuals for a second.
Mm-hmm.
The review uses the phrase visual feast.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen, it's totally accurate. Those colors, so vibrant. The action sequences are so dynamic.
Yeah.
There's just this like energy that just pops off the screen. It feels like the whole movie's like a celebration of Nigerian culture.
Yeah. Visually, Sugar Rush is like a masterclass.
Yeah.
They really lean into that bold aesthetic that's become, it's a Nollywood staple, right?
Yeah.
But they push it even further. And you could see the filmmakers really thought carefully about, their use of color, composition, the camera angles to create like a mood, a visual language.
Right.
It's not just about looking good. It's about telling the story visually.
Oh, absolutely. And that story definitely resonated with people. Sugar Rush raked in like a whopping 40 million nairas on its opening weekend alone.
Wow.
I know, right?
That's incredible.
Not only that, it quickly became part of the, prestigious 100 million naira club.
Yeah.
Which I understand is a huge deal in Nollywood. Can you explain what that means for people who maybe aren't familiar with that term?
Yeah. So the 100 million naira club, it's not, an official thing.
Right.
But it's a big deal. It's basically a group of films that have grossed over 100 million nairas.
Right.
At the box office in Nigeria.
Right.
So to join that club, it basically means you've hit blockbuster status.
Yeah.
It puts Sugar Rush up there with, some of the highest grossing Nigerian films ever.
Yeah.
And it just shows you like the cultural impact, right? This wasn't just like a commercial success. It was a phenomenon.
Totally.
It's interesting though, like when you look at the numbers, Sugar Rush was the fourth highest grossing Nigerian film of 2020. But now as of 2024, it's sitting at 11th. That's like a pretty big drop.
It is, and it just shows how like dynamic Nollywood is. New hits are always coming out and pushing boundaries with storytelling, visual effects. It's what keeps Nollywood so interesting,
So what are some of those other Nollywood blockbusters that might have surpassed Sugar Rush? What kind of trends are we seeing?
Well, one thing is like this surge in films that are tackling social issues,
Okay.
head on, but they're doing it with a mix of drama and comedy like Sugar Rush. But the themes are, explored in a deeper way. And the humor isn't just for laughs. It's also used to, point out inequalities or challenge like traditional norms. It sounds like Nollywood's becoming more than just entertainment. It's like a platform for social commentary,
Exactly. And that's connecting with audiences not just in Nigeria, but internationally.
Right.
Sugar Rush might have even helped pave the way for that. Proving you can tackle these serious issues and still make a really entertaining film.
It's really cool to see how powerful storytelling can be, entertaining and thought-provoking. But, going back to the box office for a sec, Sugar Rush also kind of sparked a debate about what makes a good movie. Is it critical acclaim, box office numbers, or is it like some magic combo of the two?
That's a question that's been around forever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Sugar Rush, it got mixed reviews, but it was so commercially successful, it really shows you how complicated it is.
Yeah, it definitely like throws a wrench in that whole idea that, a good movie equals critical acclaim. The critics weren't exactly in love with Sugar Rush, but clearly audiences loved it.
Yeah, and that disconnect between the critics and the audience, that's interesting, right? It happens everywhere, not just in Nollywood, in all genres. Mm-hmm. And it makes you wonder, like, whose opinions really matter and what makes a film good,
I guess it comes down to individual taste. Some people, connect with what the critics are saying, and others just want to be entertained, escape for a couple of hours. Maybe that's what Sugar Rush tapped into, that need to just escape and have fun, and maybe the critics missed that.
Maybe, but I think it's more than just escapism. Sugar Rush.
Yeah.
It connected with people emotionally, even while it was making them laugh.
Yeah.
It had those universal themes, family loyalty, ambition, mm-hmm. but it presented them in a specifically Nigerian way.
So maybe that connection, that emotional thing, that's what really determines a movie's success. Critics might get people talking, but it's that emotional impact that makes a movie stay with you.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why box office numbers, while they don't tell the whole story, they do show you something important. Audience engagement. People loved Sugar Rush. They paid to see it, and that means something.
Absolutely. And beyond, being entertaining, what I find interesting is how Sugar Rush reflects this bigger trend in Nollywood, this push to make high quality, commercially successful films that can compete on an international level.
Yeah, you're right. Nollywood doesn't want to be just a local thing anymore. They're aiming for global recognition. And with movies like Sugar Rush, making money, getting attention internationally, it seems like they're on the right track.
It's exciting to see them stepping up and showing the world what they can do. What else points to Nollywood's evolution and growing influence?
Well, one thing is we're seeing more and more like collaborations, with international studios.
Oh, okay.
And streaming platforms, which is, it opens up all these new ways for Nollywood films to be seen, distribution and stuff.
Right. Broader audience. Makes sense.
Yeah. And also there's like a growing focus on, the technical side of things.
Okay.
Cinematography, sound design, visual effects, all that adds to making a more polished, like a cinematic experience.
Right. So it's not just about the stories themselves, but it's about like how those stories are actually like being told and presented.
Yeah, exactly.
So Nollywood's really like upping its game in terms of like production value.
Right. And that's attracting, a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Both, in front of the camera and behind the scenes.
Right.
We're seeing, well-known actors taking on, more challenging roles, and then all these new filmmakers, pushing boundaries and being creative.
Yeah. Sounds like a really exciting time to be like a part of Nollywood.
Oh, it is. It is. And speaking of being a part of it, the audience, they play a huge role in all this.
Yeah, that's true.
The films you choose to watch, to support, it sends a message to the industry.
Yeah.
About what stories people want.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that, right? Like as a viewer, you have power.
Absolutely.
It's easy to feel like you're just, passively consuming entertainment, but yeah, our choices really do, impact what gets made.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And think about Sugar Rush, right? It was a huge hit. Action, comedy, social commentary. What does that tell us about what people want?
Yeah, maybe it means people want movies that are both like fun, but also make you think,
right.
Offer an escape, but also engage with, real stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And that takes us back to that question we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
What makes a movie a hit? Is it the critics? Is it box office numbers? Or is it something else? Like that connection you feel with a film, when you leave the theater and you're just like, wow.
Sugar Rush really, I think, kind of messes with that idea of, what a good movie is. It seems like maybe box office success is a better way to judge a movie's impact.
Yeah, it's a tough question. No easy answer. But one thing's for sure, audiences are more and more important. are shaping, global cinema.
Mm-hmm.
And your voice as a viewer is part of that.
So next time you're, scrolling through Netflix or whatever, looking for something to watch, remember, your choice matters. It's not just entertainment. You're part of a bigger conversation about what stories we tell and what stories, get celebrated.
Exactly. And who knows? Maybe you'll find the next Sugar Rush.
Mm-hmm.
A movie that surprises everyone, breaks records,
yeah, and
changes cinema.
Yeah, totally. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into Sugar Rush.
Yeah.
And its place in Nollywood, this industry that is constantly changing. Hopefully, this gave you a taste of what Nollywood has to offer. The storytelling, the culture, the just pure entertainment value.
Yeah. And remember, there's always more to explore, more stories to discover, more insights to uncover. Just stay curious and keep diving deep.